What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. The time is here for my predictions. Stiverne Wilder, let's get right into it. Now, if you guys follow my channel for a while, in 2014, especially the second half, I was just on fire on my predictions. So we'll see if I can keep up my string of correct predictions with this one. And I have to tell you, this is a tough fight for me to predict because you can make a strong case for both fighters, and there's a lot of variables that I had to consider in making this prediction. But ultimately, I'm going to pick Deontay Wilder via mid-round stoppage, either KO or TKO. I want to say rounds 4 through 7, something right around there. And Bermane Stiverne is a hell of a fighter. He has power himself. And some people are going to be like, I don't know. He's more battle-tested. I do think he is more battle-tested. I think his impressive wins over Chris Arreola is way more impressive based on the quality of opposition. Chris Arreola is a guy who's been in there with the Klitschko, and you see what Stiverne did both times. Like, he proved it wasn't a fluke. You know what I mean? And Stiverne, he showed you it wasn't a fluke and did his thing both times. In the first fight, broke his nose. Second fight, got a stoppage. So, I mean, you don't really want to test a man like that. Now, some people are probably questioning, like, oh, why are you picking Deontay Wilder if you're saying all this stuff? That's what makes boxing good, because you get a 50-50 fight like this, and it is hard to pick because, again, I see a lot of qualities in Stiverne, but really what I think it boils down to is game plan. Who executes the game plan? Who lands that big shot first? And that's why, for the sake of this prediction video, I have to pick somebody. And stylistically, I'm picking Deontay Wilder. I'm picking him for my pick because there's some things that I have noticed where it makes me ever so slightly lean towards Deontay Wilder. Now, some of those things would be, I think Bermane Stiverne, he likes to fight more at his pace. If you watch the Chris Arreola rematch, his success really came when he started to open up and like let his offense go a little bit more. But early on in those early rounds, Chris Arreola was looking good. And then that's not what you want against a Deontay Wilder, who is an extremely fast starter. You don't want to be at a comfortable pace. So I think the best thing that Bermane Stiverne could do would be to almost shock Deontay Wilder by having a game plan that you haven't showed in your most recent fights, where you're more aggressive and you like come straight at him, because he might not be as used to that. And I remember there's a Deontay Wilder fight, I forget the opponent, and his opponent came at him in the first round, like running at him, and he almost got clipped and like stumbled backwards a little bit. I forgot what fight it was. So I think Stiverne needs to kind of come out like Canelo did versus Angulo, where it just really catches him off guard. Angulo thought he was going to have to search all day for Canelo, who was considered the lesser of the punchers. But Canelo brought it right to his front door and, you know what I mean, was hitting him with everything. So Bermane Stiverne really doesn't want to get a slow start against a fast starter. Another thing that I'm picking Deontay Wilder is his frame. A lot of you guys get like real sidetracked and preoccupied with weird shit like Deontay Wilder has chicken legs. I mean, the man does have small legs. I would say he's top heavy, but in all of his 32 fights, nobody else has been able to expose his chicken legs, or whatever you want to say. And seeing certain people on TV versus in real life, it's a difference. Like, you're like, oh, okay, I can get to that chin. I would say, based on what I've seen, I would say Stiverne has a stronger chin based on what I've seen. You know what I mean? But at the same time, being in the ring with that man, it's a different experience, because now you have to find a way on the inside. And I think Stiverne has shorter arms. I think he has underrated speed. I'm not going to say he's like Pacquiao or nothing like that, but I think Stiverne has pretty good speed, like hand speed. I just seen him in recent fights and whatnot. He just looks like he wants to fight at a more comfortable pace. And when he's doing that, he's looking good. He's looking real slick and great. But again, against a fast starter who's not trying to go into the deep rounds, that's not necessarily a good look. You want to be more Pacquiao than you want to be Marquez in that situation. And I think Deontay Wilder, his frame, his size, the man's 6'8", and he has like a killer wingspan. He has a very long arm. So I think for Bermane to get on the inside is going to be a chore for him. And he's going to have to deal with that crazy right hand power. You know what I mean? If this fight goes late, then it's going to go towards Bermane Stiverne's favor, in my opinion. But I think Deontay Wilder, I think he's hungry. I think he's ready, and he wants to prove that he's not a fluke. And a lot of people are like, oh, seen him get knocked out or TKO'd or whatever in the amateurs, and they want to they're eager to shit on him. So I think he's going to come out there with something to prove. I could be totally wrong, but this is my pick based on a few things. Another thing is Bermane Stiverne's been stopped before. Now, I don't agree with the stoppage. He got stopped allegedly by Demetrius King, and he even had a knockdown in the fight. Bermane Stiverne knocked down Demetrius. But I thought the stoppage was horrible. Like, the ref needs to retire or be fired. He looked horrible, and he prematurely stopped the fight. But one thing that I did notice, aside from the bullshit premature stoppage, like where the ref was just so eager to jump in and intervene, is Bermane Stiverne was actually hurt. Like he was getting clipped with shots at that moment when it was stopped, but I still think it was a premature stoppage. It didn't need to be stopped. I don't think he was that unaware of what was going on, like where he just couldn't respond, because even as the ref stopped it, Stiverne went to throw a counter punch. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, the stoppage was bullshit from the beginning. But if you notice in that sequence, Demetrius King was landing a ton of rights, like just right. And it even got to the point where Demetrius King, he used his left hand to hold the top rope, and he was just like firing. It was sloppy, but he was like firing his right hand. But even before that, in that sequence, there were a lot of right hands that landed, and that's Deontay Wilder's money punch. Plus, I think Deontay Wilder has more power than Demetrius. And if you look at it, Bermane Stiverne and Demetrius King, they basically had the same, like, real short, stocky, and compact Ninja Turtle looking motherfuckers. Like, you know what I'm saying? That real compact Ninja Turtle looking frame versus Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is going to be coming from maybe even, I want to say, a weirder angle because he has such long arms, so you may not see something coming. And again, against Demetrius King, I don't think he should have been stopped, but Demetrius King was getting off with the right hand against Bermane Stiverne. Even you can even see Bermane Stiverne to like show to the audience or judges that he wasn't hurt. He started doing some King Kong shit like oh and banging on his chest like, and he was getting tagged with the right hand. So that's one thing I noticed. Another thing, a lot of people only consider Deontay Wilder's right hand, which is obviously his most effective. It's kind of like Pacquiao. Pacquiao's known for his left. And Deontay Wilder is known for his right. However, I've seen Deontay Wilder throw a left hook that knocked his opponent down, which in turn set up the knockout, which came shortly after. You know what I'm saying? So I think he has more power in his left than people give him credit for. Again, if Stiverne can't get on the inside, that's what's going to make it real interesting, because I don't know what Deontay Wilder's chin is going to be like. If Stiverne can make it a dogfight and an inside fight and not give Deontay Wilder the leverage to get off with his counters with his long arms and whatnot. But I think Deontay Wilder is going to control the distance and keep it at a range where it's uncomfortable for Stiverne, and probably push for like a TKO or a KO stoppage in one of those rounds that I mentioned earlier in this video. But I'm looking forward to a good fight, man. I think both guys have power. Both guys, Stiverne, he seems like he's strong mentally. He showed a good beard in the past. So I think this is going to be a good fight that brings a lot of spotlight back to the heavyweight division. And I'm really truthfully looking forward to it. I can't recall the last time I was this excited for a heavyweight fight in a long time. I think it's a 50-50 match. Both fighters have a chance. I'm rocking with Deontay Wilder. Another thing about Wilder, his power, I think, is like they both have power, but I think his power might be next level, like just even more, like a higher gauge of power. Like if you watch his fight with Sergey Lyokovich, right? He knocked him out in the first round, and like he knocked the boy out bad. I posted on Instagram, I think it was last week, and he started having spasms. It looked like he was having a seizure, like he was convulsing on the ground. And it was very similar to if you watch the fight with Nonito Donaire and Fernando Montiel, when Montiel was on the ground, like kicking and screaming, like he was having a nightmare or something. That's what happened to Lyokovich. And Deontay Wilder did that in the first round. Now, some people might say, oh, Lyokovich had been stopped before, which is true. However, he actually was coming off a loss going into the Deontay Wilder fight. But I watched that fight too. It was on NBC, and he fought Bryant Jennings, another up-and-coming American heavyweight who might fight Klitschko. Now, the Bryant Jennings fight, Bryant Jennings was very competitive with Sergey Lyokovich early on, and he started to pull away in that particular fight, and the battle of attrition was won, and it got to a point where he started tattooing Lyokovich, and I think after the 9th round, Sergey Lyokovich couldn't even come out for the 10th round, so he was the winner via TKO stoppage. But it took 9 rounds of landing a lot of shots and bombs, and to beat him down or to beat him in submission versus Deontay Wilder. You watch his fight, he knocked the boy out cold, like bad, seizure bad, epileptic bad in the first round. And another thing about Lyokovich is he recently fought Andy Ruiz, who's thought to be another good American heavyweight coming up with power. And that fight went the distance with Lyokovich versus Deontay Wilder. Iced him in the first round. He was just teeing off on him until he dropped and had that seizure or whatever. And then Andy Ruiz, again, a guy with power, he went the distance. Now, the only thing you say is Andy Ruiz said he had a hand injury. So who knows if that prevented the stoppage. But I think his power is like really a problem. I think he really has a lot of monstrous power. And it's just a matter of if he can get that off. And he's a fast starter. So I got to pick Deontay Wilder with this particular fight. Just that frame, that vicious power. Like just look at the Lyokovich fight, man. Before this fight comes on, watch fights like that and see how he did him. A lot of people, they say, oh, he only fought bums, but I mean, these guys like Lyokovich was a former Olympian, just like Deontay Wilder was, and Deontay Wilder started boxing late. And when Lyokovich fought Deontay Wilder, he had a ton more rounds of experience as a pro than Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder was getting quick knockouts, and Lyokovich had like close to 200 rounds in the books when he fought, and he had been in there with guys like Brian Jennings, like I just mentioned. And then you look at guys like even Audley Harrison. Audley Harrison is a former Olympian. Yeah, he didn't look like he was what he was advertised, but is still a former Olympian, and he's getting these guys out of there in the first round. So I just think it's going to be a problem for Bermane Stiverne if he fights at such a calculated pace. Like, I think he has to go in there and try to bully Bermane Stiverne, which could be costly. But I want to say Deontay Wilder, for him, he needs to watch out for the counter, because Stiverne is pretty slick. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure if you get him hurt, if Deontay Wilder gets Stiverne hurt, he needs to make sure he can like execute him and get him out of there without catching something, because it could be a situation like Pacquiao versus Marquez, where you got two guys and one person thinks he's going to score the knockout and he gets a little bit too careless, and then he ends up losing when it looked like he was going to win. I could also see that happening. But again, for the prediction, I'm rocking with Deontay Wilder mid-round stoppage. I listed the reasons. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think, who you're picking, and what do you guys want to see next. I think this is a hell of a fight, man, and I'm really excited for it. Drop me a comment. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off.